The reason I'm here today, firstly, is because I'm a director of the Managing Partners Forum and looking after all the peer groups. And secondly, because for the last 10 years, I've gone on the journey of learning how to be an executive coach. I only work in the professional service firm space. I have thousands of hours of doing this. And Richard said, okay, could you share something that may be of value to our members? So the first thing I wanted to say that if there is, very much part of what we do in terms of the coaching is help people go on a learning journey together. You co-create a learning experience such that people frame solutions better than they could do on their own. It's not like football coaching. It's very much by using a tool set that helps people through questions and extreme listening to help people to frame solutions that are better. Leadership in a professional service firm can be a very lonely space. And so over the years, I've spent a lot of time with leaders and had a lot of very privileged conversations. On the basis that let's help people go on a learning journey, I wanted to commend one article to you. It's done by Harvard Business School. It's titled Leadership That Gets Results. It's by Daniel Goleman. It's one of the most helpful articles that I've observed in 10 years of doing this. And the reason it's helpful is, because it starts speaking about the phenomenon of emotional intelligence. It starts to paint a picture that healthy professional service firms are infused with high EQ interactions, EQ being emotional intelligence summary, and it's part of an embedded culture. So in a sense, it's the opposite of the virus situation, in the sense that it's a positive virus. So if you think of virology, we're all learning about R0 and R1 and R2. You want to encourage a very high R factor within your firms, because you're in fact positively infecting everybody. And it's called the network effect of influence. And of course, that network effect of influence goes on into the client environment. I have trained and helped a lot of partners of professional service firms. Their clients have become addicted to them because they've learned how to coach their clients. The second main insight on emotional intelligence is this amazing insight is that you can't teach it to professionals. I've tried, it is almost impossible. The reason is if you've got high cognitive, high IQ individuals, what they do is they learn about it as a concept, they can regurgitate it, and it doesn't change their lives at all. So I'm going to reflect on, leave you to ponder that. I'll come back to you in a little bit later. The other reason this article is so helpful is because it teaches that great leadership is not about a unitary style of leadership. It's about generating a portfolio of leadership styles and then learning how to adapt those styles to the context. So in professional service firms, the coaching leadership style is proved to be extremely helpful, but also challenging, because you grow up as a professional. I'm a chartered accountant. You're very much there to offer advice and things like that. But when you start learning from the coaching perspective and looking to lead a firm on that basis, you've got to shift psychologically from adding value from what you know to saying, no, the greatest thing I can offer another human being is to go on a learning journey with them, helping them to find the incisive question in their lives, and then helping them to implement high quality solutions. And if you can do that throughout the organization, and if you can get your leaders to do that, of course, as you appreciate, that produces an amazing culture within a firm. It also is the way to enhance human capital development within the firm. So as to this point of why you can't teach EQ to professionals and to clever professionals, what I learned over years, so I'm hoping that this one insight will save somebody hours and also money. You can't train professionals in any EQ competences. What you have to do is train them to be coaching leaders. Because when you train them to be a coaching leader, they have to pick up the experience of emotional intelligence. So the first time I did this years ago with a partner, experimenting, shifting from instructing them to being with them, I said to them, coach me now. And their face went white. They grabbed their pad and their pen as their comfort blanket as a professional. And that's the journey we started together until they got extraordinarily competent. The other thing I've learned is that the coaching mindset or the coaching approach is actually a philosophy of life. And therefore has done immense amounts in my life to reduce the stress in my life, because it's quietened me up, slowed me down. Secondly, it's reduced the conflict in my life, because I'm not busy asserting a view. I'm busy questioning and asking a collective, what is the question that we're seeking to answer here today? A little bit about what Graham was saying in the board. A great Ned is the person who can graciously ask the incisive question in a moment. So what I wanted to do, just to prove this, so that not only can I instruct, but also give you a learning experience, can I invite you for 1 or 2 minutes just to go on this little exercise? So everybody on the call, pen and paper, as it were, or as a intellectual thought exercise. Here's a question for you, because it's about the value of the incisive question. What is the problem you are currently seeking to solve? So in your firm or in your life? And I'd like to cede 20 seconds of my time to you thinking about that and in some way answering it in your own mind. So my next question, is it the right problem? And then the next question, if it's not, then what is the right problem? Now, in my coaching experiences, that loop can take an hour, because where people start is not where they end up. Also, it's a gift to every leader in this firm, of the firms on the call, because now go away and go to your FD and say, what is the problem you're seeking to solve? And then, is it the right problem? And then deal with your head of HR, and then deal with each of your functional heads. And this is the way that you can start to make an adjustment from managing the firm towards leading the firm. Secondly, making sure the firm is populated with the important rather than the urgent. There are lots of questions. I will leave a list for Richard. But I wanted to spend one other thought that has come out of this coaching journey I've been on. And it's this, because I've spent so much time in professional service firms now. And it's the question, why is it so difficult for professionals to think together? If you take 10 people, put them around a table, each of them have got an IQ of 130. And then get them to interact, and you watch the average IQ systematically decline. And so I guess I wonder, another question for the readers today is, what's the one thing you could do to encourage a thinking environment within your leadership teams? Because if you can think together, you can learn together. If you can learn together, then you can change and gain a competitive advantage from that. Lastly, I would, just a reflection for every strategist in terms of an incisive question, maybe something like this. And this came from my business school experiences, and it's one that stayed with me. If you were starting your firm for the first time today, what would you be doing differently? Because that's the competitive view. It's not only the competitive view, it's also the person that's really going to eat your breakfast, who's a firm that is VC sourced and is not in your sector and doesn't have any respect for your sector, but can very much enter very quickly and on a different basis. My last thought for today is, what's just a question, what's the average time from research you think it takes for professionals to recover from burnout? An amazing thing is the research shows it's between 3 years and never. And so my invitation for you today in terms of thinking is one, are you looking after yourself? Are you resting? And are you demonstrating a leadership style that gives permission to your organizations to rest? I say to many leaders, tell people when you're resting and then communicate that throughout the firm. I have never in the last 10 years seen so many fried, borderline burnout people. You have so many diligent people working for your firms, and the trouble is at the moment is they're working 24/7. So